Can you afford a house in today's market? Stick with me and find out. Hi guys, my name is John Glassman, or Johnny Real Estate, and I'm your Chippewa Valley Real Estate Guide. Today I want to talk about the cost of living in Eau Claire versus, say, the cost of living in a bigger city, and how you, despite the cost of living, can still attain home ownership. So what exactly is the income in Eau Claire? Well, that's about $60,000 per household. If you compare that to the average income of the nearest big city, we're looking at right around $65,000 to $67,000 for St. Paul, Minnesota, and Minneapolis is slightly larger at about $69,000 to $70,000. So how does that affect how you're able to live? Well, we know the debt to income ratio is right about 30% of your income can go to houses. 30%. So if you make $100,000, right around $30,000 divided by 12 months can cover your monthly payment. That's principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. Just taking that $100,000 mark as an example, you'd be able to spend on principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, PITI, about $2,500. So what would that look like at $60,000 for the Chippewa Valley? Well, if you made $60,000 in your household, that's your total income for the household, you could afford to spend on your PITI $1,500. Now, the argument is that $1,500 can't get you a house anymore in today's market. Well, we'll get to that. But first, I just want to make some comparisons to our local big city, Minneapolis, St. Paul. First thing I want to look at is rent. What does rents look like in, say, Minneapolis, St. Paul area versus rents in Eau Claire? And so the first apartment that I'm going to pull up, I simply pulled this off Facebook Marketplace. So this is a current listing. And what we have is a 3-bed, 3-bath apartment for $4,995. Now, if we do the same thing for Eau Claire and we pull up a current listing with an updated apartment, newer updated apartment, we are looking at $2,202. Now, I know you're seeing $734 on the screen, and that's because they're advertising per bedroom. When you scroll down, it'll show you that. I didn't capture that in the screenshot. That comes out to $2,202 for this apartment for 3 bedrooms. And for their 2 bedrooms, it would be different. So what we're seeing is that rent in Eau Claire, Wisconsin is about half of some place like Minneapolis, St. Paul. This is a big deal because we just discussed that the income is between $5,000 and $10,000 different between St. Paul, Minneapolis, and Eau Claire. So based on that difference of up to $10,000, you're seeing double the price of rentals there as to here. That makes Eau Claire a better place to be when it comes to income versus the cost of living. The next thing I want to look at is the prices of houses in a place like Minneapolis, St. Paul, and the prices of houses in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, in the Chippewa Valley. The first houses we're going to look at is about 1,500 square feet, 3-bedroom house. Here you can see this house here in St. Louis Park, Minnesota, goes for $435,000, and that's just over 1,500 square feet in a 3-bedroom. Now let's compare that to this house here in Chippewa Falls, which is just over 1,300 square feet, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and it goes for $234,900. Again, almost half. Now take this 3-bedroom, 3-bath home in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, that's now over 2,000 square feet, and we're looking at $349,900. Now getting over 2,000 square feet with the same amount of bedrooms in Minneapolis, Minnesota, in an older home, you're looking at $624,000. That's quite the jump. And again, you're talking about an income that is only about $10,000 more than the Chippewa Valley. The last thing I want to do is look at luxury homes. And so then we get a good broad range of the differences between apartments all the way up to a luxury home. Now, if you take a look at this house in Altoona, Wisconsin, we're looking at 5 bedrooms, 4-bath, and we are over 4,000 square feet. This is a newer home built in the last 10 years, and it's sitting at $699,000. This is a beautiful contemporary luxury home right in the heart of the Chippewa Valley. Now, to buy a newer home like that, over 4,000 square feet in Minneapolis, Minnesota, this house, you're looking at $2.5 million. Again, that's over twice in an area that only has $10,000 more in income. We can say without a doubt that the prices in Eau Claire, Wisconsin and the Chippewa Valley have gone up and the cost of living has gone up. But we're seeing that accelerated faster in the bigger city than we are in Eau Claire. So maybe the cost of living is still rising to a standard that makes it harder for you to get a house. But you still have options like Mondovi, Durand, Oliva, Fall Creek, Augusta, and even places north of Chippewa that get you within 20, 30 minutes of the Eau Claire, Wisconsin area with all of its amenities. And the housing cost is even going to be cheaper than what we looked at today. Lastly, I want to talk a little bit about imagination. Albert Einstein once said, imagination is everything. It's the preview of life's coming attractions. I think that sometimes we lack a little imagination when we're out looking at houses. My first home 10 years ago in the Chippewa Valley was just under 1,000 square feet. That house needed a lot of renovation, but nothing we couldn't tackle within a week. We tore out the carpets, we sealed and repainted all the walls, we cleaned everything, and it took us a week before we could even move our family in. This is because I walked into a house that was more affordable for me, but it needed work. What I was able to do is use my imagination and see what that house could be. And that made all the difference. At the time, I went from renting a house to buying that house, and my payment was slightly higher. But over time, being able to refinance and bring that payment down, I was actually making a payment that was cheaper than rent. And over the next 10 years, that rent continued to go up while my payment actually went down because of refinancing. That's the beauty of home ownership. As everything else goes up, the value of your home goes up, but your mortgage stays the same. So you're building equity and you're locking in that mortgage payment while rent is continuing to rise. And that will make all the difference to your next level of success. What I'm finding is that people walk into some of these homes and they're unwilling to do the painting, the carpet, and those sorts of things. I can get you into a home in the Chippewa Valley for under $200,000. That's going to put you right around $1,500 to $1,600 in a mortgage payment. And it's going to put you better than rent in the next 10 years. That's going to mean you're going to have to be willing to do some work and to do some updating. And that's where the imagination comes in. When you imagine what it could be, you can make it happen. No matter what's your income, I want to help you achieve the dream of home ownership. So give me a call. We'll sit down together and we'll take a look at all the aspects and see what we can get you into. I want to help you out. And I think with a little imagination, you can do more than what you think you can. I'm John Glassrunner, Johnny Real Estate. You can find me on all the major social medias at Johnny Real Estate. Give me a call today.